So this is a continuation of the previous, just last clipping of horror. Sadness, madness, madness, sadness, pleasure of pain, and the pain of pleasure, displeasure and pain, pain and displeasure. Very difficult topics. I'll explain to you bit by bit. Actually, in our body, if you smile, you know how many muscles need to be controlled when you just like this, you smile. 122 muscles contract and pull your this lips and cheeks over you for a little smile like this. For this 122 muscles here total. So the muscles are nerves are so minute to that. Regarding machoism and sadism, in a human body, the glands that make up the body differs with the gender. Males are anger, have more determination, willpower, motivation, and do not cannot be thrown away like that from the deviated. It differs from male to male, from caste to caste, from creed to creed. If you go to the history of metamorphosis, you will understand that every segment of geography had that can be divided due to caste or things like that, like Pathan, like Mogul, like Santali, like Brazilian, what we call Brazil, what we call Pathan, what we call Sheikh. Actually, they are the political name of the boundary. Actually, these are boundaries that had been created for at the time of unknowingly that these are the boundaries. These are just segments, clusters. Everywhere there was life. I don't know how. We don't know how, but it is said that life was first born on inside sea, inside water, as water living elements. Then it came up to the land as mammals, and then totally on the land as separate things they existed. This happened because of absorbing oxygen, which is very vital and necessary. Oxygen can be absorbed by the body through the gills of the fish inside water, but they can be absorbed from the air itself. Like us, we cannot breathe from water. We cannot extract O2, oxygen, from water. If water gets into our lungs, that means that is the end. But a water has to get into the lungs of the fish, that is gill of the fish, so that it can extract oxygen from the H2O, that O2 only. That's a very peculiar mechanism. I don't know about the details that much. But for man, only air has to come. You cannot take in water, extract oxygen from water. But there are other certain creatures like snakes and others who can, crocodiles, who can absorb through skin as well as to nose. This goes on. So they are mammals. They can live both in land and both in all water. Turtles, etc. So from that we came to the shore, and shore to the land. There was metamorphosis, that is change history of change of life, form of life. It shows that it was first crawling, then walking, then climbing, and then flying, climbing on the tree, and things. Well, this is a very detailed subject. But with respect to the atmosphere, the fooding habits, the nutrients available, the thinking pattern, okay, the psychology of the mindset of the that craze, creed of human. I'm talking only about human beings changed. Man had the power, that is physical power, more than woman. in comparison at the same point of time life. And as because man has no mensuration or this kind of purposeful problem, uh, that is restriction in life, he can get out in the society, in the jungle to hunt this thing every day of the year, every any time of the year. But for women this was not possible. And that at the time of menstruation and this, women feel a bit sick. They are not that much enthusiastic as because of the hormonal changes. And because while in pregnancy they cannot move out, their restriction is in mobility and working is there. Therefore it was on the man which wasted the hunting part of the animals, cutting down trees for the home of the house, for the burning of and making the food and things like that. When trade and commerce, that the barter system developed, exchange system, it was man who was to take the care of. And that when one grew up to an age not of that much physical strength, he supported the society of that place through wisdom, through knowledge, and younger generation through physical power, mental power. And like this, there was separation in the male segment of the human race also. And those who were hunters, they were very stiff in mind, had to be very stiff in mind. They had to run more. There were no this thing, laser targeted guns. So they have to run more, they have to throw the arrow, they have to be physically cutting down trees. And that is why their muscle power gradually increased day by day. And that their facial expression also changed. They are stiff in mind with this. When you become, if you think you're cutting down a tree, your mind, if this thing goes, lips got tight by the force you put on the. You cannot smile like this and cut a tree, but you can smile and cut a vegetable. But you cannot smile and cut a tree. You have to be straight. First thing is that your jaws are strengthened, and when your jaws are strengthened, মানে ওটা যখন শক্ত হয়ে যায়, চোয়ালটা শক্ত হয়ে যায় কুঠার দিতে গেলে। তো সেটা যখন হয় তখন এই মাসলগুলো, বললাম হাসির সময় এতগুলো মাসল থাকে, তখন এই মাসলগুলো শক্ত হয়ে যায়। Like that, the movement of the this muscle and the bones become so that their face has changed. That is called celastrography, or there's a subject with that. With this change in face, they could have be recognized as a man or as a human. That is facial change, expression, facial structure changed. Man has a broadened face, a lengther face. Ratio is more. This is more. This is compared to this. Woman has a round type face. Every child has a round type face, but when it grows up, you see there is a difference between brother and sister. Okay, first, and then the forehead ratio. That is the forehead that is here from here to here, here to here, here to here. By calculating these ratios, one can say that he is a Negroian race or Aryan race or whatever. There are many races like that. Mongolian race like that. Then came the lips. The lips, the lower lips, if are broader than the upper, then they fell into particular race. You will see that almost all, rather not all, most all foreign UKs and things like that, this USAs and things have their lower lips a little slimmer. Mine is broader, not slimmer. So similarly, if we talk about Uttam Kumar, actually speaking, Uttam Kumar had a glaze, had a personality, had a charisma for his acting and things like that. But if you go through the facial structure, as per science, Uttam Kumar's structure is more of Negroian structure. not Bengali structure, because he had a big lip like this, lower lip. Forehead was so much, nose was আমার থেকে মোটা মোটা নাক ছিল, compared to Soumitra Babu, who was more of a Bengali type of this thing. But that is a separate issue. I mean, if you go to the celestial structure, celestial formula, science, that then the ears, earlobes, this কানে দুল পড়ে, এটা থেকে বোঝা যায়. Then you have eyes, bulging eyes and convergent, diverting eyes getting in. I'm saying all this because there's a reason. Whether your eye is bulging or not, you have to do a test. You have to put a finger so that your finger touches the bone over here and the bone over here. Okay, if that suppresses your eyes, it puts you back, then that means your eyes are bulging, getting out. And if it does not suppress your eyes like this, it falls in, পিছন দিকে চোখের বনিটাকে ঠেলে দেয় না, then you are not bulging eyes. Non-bulging eyes are considered, are described in science as per observation to be cunning, to be sly. ওরা খুব ক্রূর হয়, খুব নিষ্ঠুর হয়, কানিং হয়, sly হয়. That is what is said as an interpretation, as it has been almost very correct. But bulging eyes are more sympathetic, more emotional, more straightforward, like that. Then the structure of eyes, this to this, if it is smaller, thinner, কারো বলে পটল চেরা চোখটা গোল একবারে, তো they represent some certain type of mentality. So these are the structural sides from the nails also. You see, my nails are দেখুন লম্বাটে টাইপের, কারো দেখবেন চ্যাপটা ধাবা মার্কা গোল গোল, আর্ধেকই শেষ হয়ে গেছে সব ধাপা ধাপা, কারো দেখবেন লম্বা লম্বা নখ. Fingers, my fingers are straight like this. Some you find my fathers were thick more here, not straight. Those with a longer, thinner fingers are said to be very artistic in nature. So this is not astrology, this is observation from this. So like that, every body part and ratio and comparison has some observational representation, which may or may not be correct, but almost sometimes it is correct, because this is a very truthful science. There's no personal biasness in the observation. Now you will say that if hair falls down, this ratio comes back. Yes, that's true, at the time it is so. So like that, things went on. So there was a change in the structure of the body that differentiated between man and woman. There was a change in the voice of the body, of the vocal cord, because they have to shout and give signals. There are no mics or phone, WhatsApp, so they had to shout and give signals. Wait a minute, something went wrong. Battery is low. Yeah, what's the matter? I have to check the connection. Just wait. What's the issue here? What's the issue here? কি হলো বলতো? I'll be continuing in the next video.